Welcome to this week's episode of Here We Journey, the podcast by Pastor Greg. If you're joining me on YouTube, you know that I post a video version of this podcast. I also post the podcast audio version on Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcast, Amazon Music, Anchor, Spotify. So most of your main places where you can find podcast, I am there. If you want to listen to the audio version, or if you're listening to the audio and you want to kind of see the video as well as post or see some of the other video content that I post on my YouTube channel, it is Pastor Greg Hartman as well. So check it out. Hope you can join me. Hope you're enjoying the podcast. This is season 2, episode 2. And tonight we're going to take it a little bit in a more fun direction. I want to talk about something that's kind of been weighing on my heart. It's not the topic that I had originally planned to talk about tonight. I started my new call at New Spirit Lutheran in Tucson on Tuesday. So this is why it's a little bit late. And I was going to talk a little bit about that process. But throughout the day, as I was preparing my thoughts, something else kept coming up. And it was because I was unpacking my office and making it my office, getting settled in to feel like home, to feel like a place that I wanted to be on a regular basis for extended periods of time. It's reclaiming those things that maybe through our lives we've given up on, but we still deep down really enjoy or would enjoy if we viewed it. And I'm really trying to talk about fandoms, right? Nerd culture, things of that nature. I have shared before in other episodes of this podcast that I am a big professional wrestling fan. I have been since I was a kid. I grew up in the 80s with Hulkamania running wild. Then in the 90s with the Attitude Era and Stone Cold Steve Austin and Goldberg and the Monday Night Wars between WCW and WWF at the time, now WWE. I even this past year went and saw the living legend Mick Foley in person for one of his one-man shows. I have wrestling memorabilia. That's what I was unpacking in my office today. I have the replica $1 Million Man, $1 Million belt. I also have, thanks to one of my friends on TikTok, Anubis, I have a 3D printed Macho King crown and scepter. I have autographs from various wrestlers, and I really love it. I enjoy it. I really like my collection. And I look forward to adding to it some more. Don't tell my wife this, but I have my eyes on another championship belt. This time, it would be what's referred to typically as the Big Gold, the WCW Heavyweight Championship. That's the next one that I want to get. But why? And what does this have to do with the topic of the podcast? You see, wrestling post the 90s and even before the 90s was not a super cool thing to be a fan of. And even during the 90s, Stone Cold Steve Austin and all that helped, and it was more mainstream, but there was still a certain level of what's the word? Certain negative things that would happen, or you get picked on for, oh, you know that's fake, right? Or, you know, I can't believe you're watching a male soap opera, or, you know, all those things, right? And yes, I will be the first one to admit, professional wrestling, by and large, is a male soap opera with the storylines and all that. It's also largely scripted with at least the outcomes already preset. But it's fun. It's fun to watch. I find it entertaining. I get excited. I love sitting there and watching the pay-per-views. I even love professional wrestling enough that I'll go back and watch the old school pay-per-views and watch the biographies and the behind the scenes and all the special episodes and shows that talk about that stuff. That's how big of a fan I am and how much I enjoy it. But again, there was a time, largely in college and for a while after that, I very rarely watched wrestling. For a number of reasons. One of the major ones being, it wasn't cool. It wasn't what adults, what grown folk are supposed to do, are supposed to enjoy. We're supposed to put that behind us. If you want to quote the Bible, when I was a child, I enjoyed childish things, and when I was adult, I put away those things, right? We've heard a lot of those types of comments. So we end up leaving those things that we really enjoy and have fun with behind. Now, there are other reasons to give up things, right? There's certain extracurricular activities that aren't safe. But watching professional wrestling, you're not really hurting anyone, right? And then, in that same vein, and I'm saying this because I'm also streaming this recording live on TikTok, and one of my dear friends is here, my brother. Comic books. How often do adults that like comic books get made fun of, or that enjoy anime? That's not quite my thing, but hey, you're not hurting anyone. Why do we give these things up? I think it's because we're told we're supposed to. And why do we make fun of those people that enjoy it? Because maybe we're a little jealous. Maybe we wish that we had the nerve to publicly say, hey, this is what I enjoy. Be it comic books, be it anime, be it professional wrestling. I have some great, wonderful, amazing friends that are cosplayers. Not quite my thing. I might dabble in the near future in a cosplay or two. I don't know. But again, they are also often poked fun at, right? Oh, they're just playing dress up. Only children should play. I've seen it in the comments and in the conversation. And let me be clear. That's not okay. We shouldn't make fun of people enjoying what they enjoy to make ourselves feel better. We shouldn't make fun of people when they're enjoying things that aren't hurting anyone. What is someone that's 40, 50, 60, 70 years old reading a comic book? What harm is that doing? I would say none. That's not going to hurt anyone. If someone is enjoying anime and it's not hurting anyone, what's the problem? Is it because you miss that? Is it because we're conditioned to say only children should do this? Now, I might get in a little bit of trouble. But there is a certain show on Disney Plus that is viral in many ways. I have some amazing people that love a certain cartoon on Disney Plus called Bluey. If you're like me, you see it on Facebook and maybe some on TikTok, people talking about Bluey. My kids love Bluey, and my wife loves Bluey. I think Bluey's good. I don't get super fired up while watching Bluey, but they do. Like, to see the excitement, the joy in the eyes, the twinkle in the eyes when Bluey comes on, like, it's great. It's amazing. And yes, I do poke a little bit of fun at my wife in good jest, though. It's not me trying. I'm sorry, guys. I got distracted. I had the one, the only I Speak 1906 pop into my TikTok live. We have been mutuals for years, year and a half, 2 years. That guy's a big deal. So, anyway, I'm sorry. Bluey. And you know what? If she loves Bluey and wants to watch Bluey, and she does watch it when the kids are not around, that's okay because it brings her joy. It's a stress relief. It's something to bring a smile to your face. It's something that, for a moment in time, lets us as adults forget or get away from the stresses that we are under on a regular basis. And we need to engage in those things. I mentioned him before. He makes a lot of TikToks about it. I Speak is a big Nerf guy. I don't remember the number. I think it was up to like 40 Nerf guns or something ridiculous. But it's something that brings him joy. And at the end of the day, if he's not hurting anyone, and it's not a negative, and he's not, spending the money that was supposed to be spent on rent or food, what's the big deal? I actually would encourage us to find those things, be it Nerf guns, be it anime, be it comic books, be it professional wrestling, that bring us joy, and accept it and embrace it and run with it. If you're a cosplayer, look, be a cosplayer. And we need to get past this as a society that grown folk shouldn't do these things. That grown folk shouldn't X, Y. You know what? That may have been how it was at one point in time. But things have changed. We are living in a very stress-filled, anxious, depressed place. And I wonder if we embraced things like comic books, Nerf, building blanket forts, Bluey, professional wrestling, those things that maybe as adults we put behind us because they were quote unquote childish or things that children are into, maybe, just maybe, and I could be wrong, but maybe we would not have some of the problems we have now. Maybe we would be better rounded, and we would be healthier in a whole way. We would be healthier in a way because we're embracing all aspects of ourselves. When I made the decision to really embrace the fact that, yes, even as a 40-year-old man with a family, a wife, 3 kids, I still enjoy professional wrestling, and I don't give a flip what others think. I felt so much more relief. The other thing, I'll tell myself some more because I've picked on a few other people. I mentioned my wife. Look, I've become a Disney guy. I enjoy watching Disney. I don't watch all the cartoons, but things like Phineas and Ferb, I love. I find Dr. Doofenshmirtz fantastic. I also love the Marvel stuff and some of the more adult content geared things. And I really enjoy going to the Disney parks. Now, I've only been to Disneyland once and Disney World once, but they were a blast. It was so fun. And because of a medical condition, I can't ride roller coasters. I've shared this on a previous podcast, but I have a condition called Chiari malformation, where they removed the back part of my first vertebrae and part of my skull and put in a little piece of plastic to help with fluid flow. And that little piece of plastic, think of like a Capri Sun straw, one like that size, and probably about yay big, at the base of your brain, so that when you're on a roller coaster, it vibrates, which is not good. It can lead to definitely not feeling well. So I don't go to these parks for the rides. I go for the experience. I go, and yes, I went and got some people's autographs. I got some of the character autographs. I'll tell you a story. When we first went to Disneyland, I saw one of my favorite Disney villains, Captain Hook. And I took my then, I think she was 4, 5-year-old daughter, our oldest now, who's 11. I took her autograph book and I walked up to Captain Hook myself and went to get his autograph. I was super excited, and I was so excited that I forgot Captain Hook only has one hand. So I went to hand him both the autograph book and the pen. And Captain Hook just looked at me like, I only got one hand. So if you ever go visit Disney and you see Captain Hook, no, you have to hold the autograph book and hand him the pen. But I was super excited about that. Like, I felt joy, and it was this like childhood joy. There was a character that another family member met that they had a very similar experience. And it's those moments that I think we miss out on when we don't embrace these things. I'm going to go to a Comic-Con at some point in my life. Will I know everyone that's there, even though I read comics? Will I know who the artists are and the writers? Probably not. But I also know that there will be people there that will be having their quote-unquote fanboy or fangirl, fan person moments, right? And I wish we could live in those moments more. I wish we would embrace the fact that those moments are a good thing. That those moments, I'm going to get a little religious here, are God-given. Those moments of joy, those moments of pure joy come from somewhere. And I think maybe it gives us a touch of the joy that we will have after our journeys here on earth are done. My opinion. So why do we do this? Why do we force ourselves to give this up. We shouldn't. We should enjoy what we enjoy as long as it's not causing harm, right? That's key. That's key to things like if you're a Pokemon person or a Magic the Gathering person or a comic book person, whatever, we know that there's the possibility that money that should be spent one way is being spent another way, right? Let's name that, let's recognize that and say, well, as long as we're doing it responsibly, as long as we're, not going to an extreme, as long as things are still taken care of. I, unfortunately, as a pastor, have dealt with a parishioner who had a family member that was buying Pokemon cards that ultimately they really could not afford, and that person was spending money on Pokemon cards that should have been going towards other bills. That's not good. That's not what I'm endorsing here or encouraging here. I'm encouraging embracing things that bring us joy responsibly. Things that we gave up because it's too much like a kid. Figure collecting, action figure collecting. There's another one. I collect some Funko Pops that fall in professional wrestling and Disney largely. But other people would say, well, those are plastic toys. Why are you wasting your money on those things? What does it hurt? Why do we have to pass judgment on that? We don't. So I hope you get what I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to encourage you to find those things. I'm trying to encourage you to embrace the things when you can that bring you joy. The other thing, I'm looking at my screen here, I love are stickers. And I was unpacking those in my office today. I love collecting stickers. I have a box. Small box. And I use them on my bullet journals and various other things. I'm a water bottle. But they're stickers, right? Like, other people would again say, you're spending $3 on a sticker? Like, those are $3 that you could use or save up. But it brings me joy. We need to live in that. We need to live in our joy. Because life is hard. Life is full of challenges. Life will knock us down. Life will beat us up. Life is hard. Life is not fair. And when we strip all the joy out of our lives, it makes it really hard to get through those times of challenge. It makes it really hard to continue to put one step in front of the other. So find your joy and embrace it. Find that thing that you gave up as a kid or as a young adult because it wasn't cool anymore, and embrace it. Or find something new. Embrace a new child hobby or activity. Pick up a comic book. Watch a professional wrestling show. Watch some anime. Watch a Pokemon. Whatever. Try it until you find something that brings you that joy. And then you have something else that will help you to keep going forward. To relieve some of that stress. To let you take a breath and take a break from this world. As always, my friends, those that are on TikTok, YouTube, wherever you're listening to this, if you are hearing the sound of my voice, Know that you make this world a better place simply by being who you are. You are loved, you are valued, you are appreciated, and I love you. I care for you. And there are people that are thankful that you are here. Have a blessed day. Be well. And I'll talk to you again next week.